Yeah. Hello and welcome. Thank you all for joining in today's webinar. Today I have with me Namesh Patel, who is an expert in sales and branding. Today's webinar, we will be talking about how you should build your personal brand and why is it important to build a personal brand in this day and age. So this will be a very insightful session. Just give me 1 second. All right, sorry, one of my link was open where my video was live, so I was listening to myself. Okay, all right. So, like I was saying, today is going to be a very insightful session. Namesh has prepared a very interesting presentation, and the whole session is going to be very hands-on. And if you are just starting to think of how to build your brand either online or offline, then this session is going to be really, really useful. Especially at the end of the session, Naimesh is going to give his ebook that he has written uh, for to give you the steps that you need to build your brand. And throughout the session today, we are going to walk through some of the ideas and the concepts that he has covered in his ebook. So let me formally introduce. Sorry, let me get Namesh on the screen in the limelight on the Vidy Potdar show. So thank you, Namesh, for coming. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Same here.
It's always good to catch up with an old friend like you. So everyone here, Namesh and me, we studied together in India. We both met in the St. Xavier's College, where we studied together. And time has just seems like it has flown so fast, and it's more than I guess more than 20 years, right? That we
Yeah,
since we
yeah.
graduated. Yeah. So yeah, so we both have taken a very different path in our career. I have entered academia, and Namesh has a very interesting career so far. And I'll let Namesh introduce himself and talk a bit about his journey till today.
Yeah. Thank you, Vidy, for that interesting piece of speech. Before the time flew away, you flew away to Australia, and that's how we departed, right?
Yeah, that's
And it
right.
has been a great journey for both of us. I'm really thankful to God and thankful to our hard work that we are doing good, and now we are trying to give it back to the society. I really like the initiative that you have taken up for the PhD students, and uh, I keep observing and I keep following you on the social media, and the way the passion with which you are trying to help the students to complete their PhD, not just in faster way but in a good quality way. That's really
Hmm.
very wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I just
Uh,
wanted to share my experience. So whatever challenges I faced during my PhD time, I just hope that if I share my experience, my knowledge, and people benefit from that, their PhD will be much more enjoyable and fun.
but that's what the great thing is about you. You know, we all have gone through experiences, but very few are there who take a time to look back and share that experience with those who are coming behind you, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's a magnificent task. Coming back to me, because I am on the limelight today, I will try to boast about me for some time. Uh, I uh, currently I'm working with a company that is OEM for CCTV cameras. I handle sales for a region in India for that company. I've been in sales and marketing since last 20 years. I have been selling right from broadband solutions to consulting services to multi-billion dollar companies. From that, I switched to sales of technical products, and that's how I landed into sales of CCTV cameras right now. I've
Yeah.
always been fascinated by the term sales, because as when we are studying, the sales career is considered to be in a very negative terms. It's always like, if you cannot do anything, you go into sales, right? And salespeople are the people who are always pushing you, or who are always forcing you, who are always behind you to sell their products, right?
Yeah.
And even I thought that way. When I was doing my MBA, I was very negative about sales. But
Hmm.
then, as uh, I progressed towards my career, I found out the magic of sales, and I realized how the world is what it is today, because people are selling not just products, but people are selling ideas, people are selling passion, right? People are selling vision. Sales
Hmm.
is not just about you know forcing a product down your throat, right?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
look if you look at the history, look at Martin Luther King, look at Mahatma Gandhi, look at Barack Obama.
Hmm.
For that matter, even look at sports persons like Mike Tyson or Sachin Tendulkar. All these
Hmm.
people are trying to sell new things. They are trying to convince people about their vision. They are
Hmm.
trying to convince the people about how they can change their lives. So all this is a part of sales. And that's
Hmm.
how I got fascinated with sales. And I learned all these things after I started my career in sales.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. No, I think so. Today's talk, Nemish, you said the title that you gave for the talk is the ABCs of personal branding. So it's a very creative title, I think, because it's very, first of all, it's very catchy, and then, but it's not just catchy, but it is also very, it's to the point. It is covering exactly what you are trying to convey. So ABC. Can you talk us through what is ABC? Or oh
We'll,
yeah,
we'll,
yeah.
we'll, 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 we'll come to that at a later stage. First of all, I'd like to tell you something. When we decided to go for this topic, and when you
Mm,
started to promote this topic in the social media, I think we came across some questions about personal branding and how it is relevant to your target audience, right? How is it
mm,
relevant to students? How is it relevant to someone who is just doing a research in some lab or in some university?
yeah.
What does personal branding has to do with that particular person,
Mm,
right? So before we go to the ABCs of personal branding, let me tell you, personal branding here is not what you think about when you think about brand, right?
yeah.
Always, whenever we talk about branding, we start to ideate about big brands like Apple, Google, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, IBM,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So basically, branding, or even we think about celebrities like
Mm,
Madonna or Ricky Martin or Elvis
mm,
Presley. Those
yeah.
people who become celebrities, right? They have to maintain their brand image. They have to maintain their persona. They have to maintain their the idea of themselves in people's mind.
Yeah.
So how is that related to a normal student who is
Mm,
just looking for completing his PhD, or
mm,
who is looking for a good job in some corporate company or in some college or university,
mm,
right? So let's come back to branding. Now
yeah.
most of us, even when we were students, and even right now your students, many of them would feel that sometimes they're very hardworking, their
Mm,
content is very good, their research project is excellent, their CV is looking perfect, and still they are not getting what they should get from the world, right?
Yeah.
They always feel that they are being ignored, or maybe they are not getting the kind of attention that they should get, or they're not getting the kind of job that they should get, or maybe
Hmm.
their research professor is not giving them the kind of treatment that they should get from them. Now what can be the reason? Your content is perfect, your
Yeah.
idea is perfect, you're doing all the hard work that you have to do, right? That piece of journal that you are going with has everything that it needs, and still you are
Hmm.
not able to convince people. So why is it happening? Maybe it is because the way you represent yourself, other than the content,
Hmm.
is there some gap in that? Is it not in resonance with the idea of you, right? In corporate world, we always say that when you are going to sell a product, the customer buys product at the last. First, the customer has to be convinced that you are good, right? So the person first buys the salesman, then he
Yeah.
buys the company, and then if he is convinced about everything and the price matches, he buys the product.
Yeah.
The same thing happens in every aspect of life,
Hmm.
right? So the idea is that your just like every brand, your story, every aspect of your story should be in resonance with what you represent. That's where personal branding comes into picture.
Hmm.
In branding terms, every brand is a story, right?
Yeah.
If you look at Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola carries a story of 150 years. It started as a tonic water, right? It was invented by a pharmacist.
Hmm.
It used to be sold in medical stores because it contained cocaine. Up
Yeah.
till early 1900s, Coca-Cola had cocaine, right?
Hmm.
Coca-Cola always have different kind of bottles, and those bottles, every new bottle of a Coca-Cola is into limelight. It becomes a hype. What kind of new bottle is coming up?
Hmm.
The moment you think about Coca-Cola, you think about a red bottle with
Yeah.
white text, right?
Hmm.
So these are not just the physical characteristics of a product. Okay, this is the story that Coca-Cola has built around its product, around itself over the years,
Yeah.
right? So that image, that perceived value of that product, of that brand remains in the customer's mind forever. Even if
Yeah.
Coca-Cola comes up with a new product, the brand value that it has created, it remains in the person's mind. If a
Hmm.
Coca-Cola comes up with a chocolate, immediately the end user will think the chocolate will be cool,
Yeah.
right? The
I think
same
same.
brand image, yeah. So the same brand values that Coca-Cola carries, whichever product Coca-Cola comes up with,
Hmm.
those brand values will keep resonating in the customer's mind.
Yeah, I think
Now,
same thing applies even when we look at, say, Apple, right? Although they just
yeah,
come up with a phone, but it is their design that people relate to. You know, even if it comes with a, say, a car, it will not be like a car that we look are used to. It is going to be very special because they put in so much, I guess, effort in the design aspect of the product. So that is, in
now
a
that
way,
you mentioned, yeah, now that
kind
you
of.
mentioned car, look at
Uh,
the brand value, the brand story that is created between German cars and cars that are made in USA, or the
uh,
cars that are made in Japan. The
Japan.
cars made in Japan are always considered to be safer, more robust than the
Hmm.
cars made in USA. Why? It is the brand story that is created along the decades of hard work by these companies.
That's
So
right.
when
Hmm.
you look at a personal level, when you look at your own image, you have to make sure that everything that you do, right from your attitude, your speaking style, your
Hmm.
uh, your dressing style, every content you create,
Yeah.
every post that you post on the social media, because in today's world you are being watched everywhere. The
Yeah.
moment someone, say for example, your student comes to you and tells you, hey Professor Vidy, you know so and so person, can you please refer me to that person? Even
Hmm.
though your student is referred by you, whoever that professor is will first go to Google or will first go to LinkedIn and check
Hmm.
out the student's profile. right?
Yeah. I mean, even I do that when I get emails from prospective PhD students who want to pursue their PhD or even an MBA. Uh, the first thing I would do is go and check online, check their LinkedIn profile to see what they have written in that flashy email versus the reality, and
Exactly.
how close or how far apart that is. So that has
That's
become, yeah.
that's why in today's world, it has become so easy to judge you. It has
Hmm.
it becomes so easy to research about you. It has become so easy to check your past,
Yeah.
right? So that's why what I say is, no matter what you do, you are going to be watched. So
Hmm.
make sure that when somebody watches you, at least he or she is impressed,
Yeah.
right? So that's why taking a conscious effort to
Yeah.
create your brand value, to create your perceived value in the mind of your future recruiter or your
Yeah.
future university is very important.
Yeah, I think it does make sense because for anything of value that you try to do, you have to take some active action, right? Proactive. You have to be proactive. So one way is you can just have a simple uh, social account on, say, LinkedIn and don't do anything with it, or you take some effort to craft a right story that you put in your introduction, that you introduce yourself, or maybe a nice professional photo that you have on LinkedIn. So these are all, I think, activities or actions that you have taken to, maybe knowingly or unknowingly for that matter, right? So
Yeah.
that you think that, oh, people should know more about me, or they should have a good perception about me, or they should feel that, oh yeah, he seems like a genuine person. So you, some people take some action, some do not, but I think it is a conscious effort to do that, right?
Yeah. So you said one statement just now that people should know about you. We all
Hmm.
want that, right? We all want that people who matter, people who are on the positions where they can help us, they should know about us,
Hmm.
right? So we have to take the right steps to make sure that when they know about us, they know something better,
Yeah.
or it becomes a big fiasco, right? So
Hmm.
many times it happens that you get once in a lifetime opportunity to introduce yourself to someone
Yeah.
and you screw it up,
Hmm.
right? Why? Because you were not prepared.
Yeah.
You never
I think
knew
that
that
is a very
you will
important
meet
point,
that person.
because what I feel is everyone should have like a elevator pitch ready to either to introduce themselves in a situation like this that you just now mentioned, or if you get an opportunity to talk about your research or your product that you're building. So that is a part of your personality as well. If you are prepared with that, if you are ready with this, it just gives a nice impression to the person that you are talking to, right? Or meeting with.
So that's why I said, when you said that people should know about you, the second thing
Mhm.
is, before people should know about you, first you should know about yourself,
Yeah,
right?
very well, very true.
So, so that's where the main topic of today's talk comes in.
uh,
See, as I said, every brand has a story behind it, right?
hmm,
You can also create a story around yourself, and you can lead your life on the basis of that story. What
yeah,
is that story? Story is not something about fiction. Story can be based on the facts also. It's
yeah,
story is not just about creating myths or just fantasizing about things, right?
hmm,
You have lived a life. You have reached a position. Now there is a time to stop. If
hmm,
you take some time, look back, look
yeah,
at the things that have happened, and create a story out of it. Make it interesting,
hmm,
right? See, nobody of, I mean, nobody knows Newton's law in detail, but right? But
hmm.
everybody knows the Apple story,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Nobody would know Archimedes' principle, but
Uh,
everybody remembers the Eureka incident in his life,
yeah,
right? So it's not about, and people barely care about what you have done, or people barely care about your research project. What people
hmm,
want to know is what values you come with,
Yeah.
What will you offer them? Right?
Hmm.
Whatever you have done in the past is done. It's of no use to them. What
Hmm.
you have to tell them is, see, boss, what I have done till now is this, and
Hmm.
I have achieved all this because I carry these values, and these values can be useful to you also if I work for you,
Hmm. Hmm.
or
Yeah.
these values can be inspirational for you if you are in
Yeah.
touch with me. So stay
Yeah.
connected with me,
Hmm.
right?
I was
So
watching.
that, yeah,
This morning or sometime earlier today, I was watching Instagram reels, and there was one reel where I think this girl talks about, give some advice on how to negotiate your salary, and that she exactly told the same thing. Don't accept the salary that they are offering you right at the very first thing. Try to negotiate and tell them what skills you have and how those skills will make the company more profitable, and then
exactly.
put it relative to that. So that skills that you have, the way you portray those skills is your brand, right? People will, and you should be able to sell that. You should be able
Yeah.
to convince the other person that, yeah, see, this is, it's not just me I'm saying this, but it is actually, I have done it in the past and I can do it in the future. I did it for somebody else so far and I can do it for you.
And that's
So
what branding exercise is all about.
yeah.
What we are going to do today is we are going to, I'll take you through a few exercises
Okay.
and help you create a story around you that you can carry with yourself wherever you go. You don't
Hmm.
have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be a TikTok star in current generation, right?
Like
We
you.
all are behind. Yeah, we all are behind. So much behind likes and followers and all. That the
uh,
moment we talk about personal branding, people think, okay, this guy will come and tell me about how I can increase my followers, or how I can have more likes and comments. It's not about that. Life is much
oh
bigger
no,
than that.
oh no, I thought everyone came here just for that.
No, yeah, they came here for you because your content is good, right?
Oh my God. Wow, that's flattering.
Yeah, yeah, and you bring in very good guests.
Of course. Yeah, you're very true. Very true. The best one is today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So, hmm.
yeah,
So
so
do you
that's
want,
what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah, please continue.
no, I was going to ask you, do you want me to put on the slide deck that you have made? Do you want to walk through them or just give some examples through those tasks for our audience?
Yeah, we can do that. But before that, if you have any question about how branding or anything, you can ask me.
One thing that comes to mind whenever, or maybe comes to mind to a lot of people, is how do I know what is my brand strength? I mean, somebody who has not actively looked at branding. So, what could be my unique strengths, or like my USP? How to identify that? That could be one thing that come to my mind.
See, one of my professor always used to tell me that feedback is the breakfast for the champions, right?
Hmm.
See, your USP is rarely possible to be found out by yourself. It's always better to talk with people, get their
Oh.
feedback. Uh, just after some time, we'll do one exercise. I will not do the exercise, but I'll suggest one exercise wherein you
Hmm.
will see, many times what happens, the way see ourselves is much more different than how people see us. And
Hmm.
it's a common human trait that we always think that people think negative about us. So
Hmm.
we are always under fear to impress people, right? But in this entire process, we forget that there are so many positive things about us that people are
Yeah.
thinking, but we are not thinking,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? So it's always better to have a 360-degree feedback from people with whom you actually worked, not your
Yeah.
family or friends, but the people who actually been at the receiving end of whatever you have done.
Hmm. So
Maybe,
whoever
maybe
whoever you have worked with in the past, ask them for. genuine, real feedback on
Yeah,
their experience of working with you,
yeah.
and
So
ask
that's
them
the
to be
only way, and that's the best way. Sorry.
purely blunt.
Yeah, absolutely. Best
Hmm.
thing what I do is I ask for feedback from people on email.
Ah, okay.
So there's nothing like that because all of us have very different personalities on
Yeah,
face and on digital media,
yeah.
right? And once you have that piece of email, if
Hmm.
you have any doubt, you can go and face that person and ask what they meant by something. Because the drawback of digital media again is if you read a mail, you cannot read in the tone that the
Hmm.
sender of that email wanted. You
Yeah.
read it in your own tone, right?
Hmm.
So that's why it's better to do the both. But the
Hmm.
best way to get your USP is do your own research and talk to the people. Don't do
Ah,
it yourself. Otherwise, uh, it will backfire.
okay. All
And
right.
not just in the negative way. You'll
Hmm.
miss so many positive traits about you that you didn't know.
Yeah. So, Namesh, one thing that comes to mind is every person or every being, right, has a different comes from a different industry, comes from a different background or different skill sets, right? So, creating a brand. Oh, okay, maybe let me go to a very basic question. Is branding there for everyone or not? Earlier you mentioned that give examples of celebrities and they trying to maintain build their brand or maintain their brand. So is having a brand, is it for everyone, or what are your thoughts on that?
See, as we discussed in the beginning, branding
Hmm,
is not just about a product, right?
hmm,
Everybody, and we also talked about unique selling proposition, USP. Each person is unique. Each person
yeah.
has his or her own USP, right?
Hmm,
Branding is nothing but taking care of physical and digital aspect of your life to make
hmm,
sure that they revolve around your USP,
yeah.
right? Now, before I tell you whether everyone needs that or not, I'll ask you another question. In the
Hmm,
intro video of this seminar, of this webinar, I said branding is a substrata of sales, the process of sales. Right? Now,
hmm,
what is sales? Sales is a transaction where one person receives something, other person gives something, and in
hmm,
that transaction, both the people, both the involved parties make a profit.
yeah.
Right? Now,
Hmm,
profit is not always in terms of money.
hmm.
Right? Just to give you a very raw example, because there are a lot of young students here. You want to convince your parents. You want to
Hmm.
convince your parents to marry a girl.
Hmm.
Your parents and your family are not convinced about that. They think
Hmm.
you should not marry that person, boy or girl, right? Now, trying to convince your parents, what you'll do? You'll try to tell them what is good about this boy or
Hmm.
girl, how they
Yeah.
can be beneficial for the family if they become part of the family,
Hmm.
right? You convince your parents that they are at the benefit, family is at the benefit. Your benefit is you get a chance to marry the person you want to marry.
Hmm.
That anyway you will do, but you will still have family and that lady or that man, whoever you
Ah,
marry. You will have all of them together.
yeah.
Isn't this, in a way, a process of sales where two parties are involved, and at the end of the process,
Yeah.
all are
Yeah.
getting benefited,
Interesting way of putting
right?
it or explaining sales, Naimesh. Great
So,
job.
so basically, that's what I'm saying. Branding is not just about product. You're trying to create a persona,
Yeah.
right? So wherever in your life you see that you have to convince people, and it's an everyday thing, right? Even when
Hmm.
you go in a shop and bargaining,
Yeah.
right? That is say not just sales for the shop owner only. So only if you
Ah,
are saving 100 rupees on a purchase, It's a
Yeah.
sales for you also, because you are also making profit by saving 100 rupees.
That's right.
Right. So it is for everyone.
Yeah.
Just,
Ramesh, we
just
have got a question from Sudhir Bhatia, and he's saying exactly that is what I wanted to know. That being an academic, precisely PhD candidate aspiring to join teaching position, uh, that is branding for everyone or not. So I think you kind of answered that j- uh, holistically, but maybe I can add a bit of my thoughts from an academic perspective to answer Sudhir's question. So, Sudhir, I think let me put it this way. So, I sit on many interview panels for academic positions, right? So, in academia, what is a brand, right? What do you think when people think about an academic? What is it that they consider to be a well-known academic in the field? So first and foremost goes to where you have done your PhD, where you're current or pursuing your studies, pursuing your PhD. Post PhD, if you have done postdoc, where have you done your postdoc? So this activity adds value to you as a person or as a brand. So if you do your postdoc from a top university, from the top 200, top 100 ranked university, it builds up your credibility. Then you go looking for a job. If you have published some research papers in a top ranked journals, then that further builds more credibility, right? So what you're actually doing throughout this process of your during a PhD and progressing further in the PhD in your career, you are collecting skills and building up your brand. So you're actually building up, like what I would say, your USP. So why would somebody hire you? The reason they would hire you is because you have really good teaching skills. For example, in your case, you are aspiring to take a teaching position. Students like you because you have maybe a very approachable personality. Students get along very well with you, and so on. So yeah, so to answer your question, Sudhir, that yeah, I think you need to have a brand. And even so, earlier I used to see academics being a very shy kind of profession. So they would not go out and boast, that this is me, see what I have done, these are my achievements. But that is kind of changing. I've seen that shift happen, where people now are taking the time and effort to not say, I won't say boast about their achievements, but to tell the public, tell the people around or within the network that, see, I have got this paper published, and this is the link of my article. So that is the kind of an action that I'm taking to promote myself and uh, build up my brand, I would say. But yeah, Namesh, your thoughts on this?
yeah, exactly. I think you have covered everything. But again, I'll say, as a teacher, uh, yes, branding is very, very important. Not just for getting your teaching job, but as a
Hmm.
teacher, you are going to influence coming generation. You are going to influence the students. So just as Vd said, uh, they they have to see whether students like you or not. What matters more is what kind of students like you. Right? So
Yeah.
so it's not about just getting the job. The
Hmm.
branding starts post getting the job,
Yeah.
like making sure that the students remain respectful towards you. They respect your technical knowledge. They respect your life skills. They respect the way you carry yourself, the way you represent them in the educational world,
Hmm.
right? So all these things are important. So as I said, when you create a story around you as a brand, it's not for a single goal. It's
Hmm.
not like you do something, you create your own brand story for getting a job, or for to impress a single person. Right?
Hmm.
Branding has to be taken as a way of life. It has to be done as an exercise to create a story around you so that you understand where you come from, where you stand right now, and where you
Hmm.
want to go.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that
And if you,
self-reflection
yeah,
is very important.
yeah. And that brings me to the first uh, alphabet of our today's talk, the
Hmm.
authenticity of branding. Right?
Yeah.
So basically, see, the difference between corporate world and personal branding, I mean, for the corporate products and the personal branding is,
Hmm.
products are built, or the corporate brands are built around the target audience, what people want. What they do is they first research about what people want, what kind of values they are looking for in a product, and they
Hmm.
build product around those values, or they sell their product around those values. Right?
Yeah.
When it comes to personal branding, is totally opposite. Right? You look at yourself, you look at your life story, you look at your aspirations. Right? You
Hmm.
look at your life values, you look at your USP. Right? And you create a story around it, and then you go out into the world and find out people who resonate with what you stand for, and you find out the people who need that.
Hmm.
Right? A product can be built, but a person, a human being, is built around the experiences that, or the events that have happened in his past, or
Yeah.
those events that are happening in the presence.
Hmm.
Right? So
That's
it
how they're
is.
molding themselves, right? That's how
Yeah.
they're.
So in a spiritual way, we can say that we are product of the God. Right?
Hmm.
We don't, and that's what I mean by being authentic. Right?
Hmm.
You don't have to manipulate your own personality to fit into the world. It's a
Yeah.
huge world, and there is always a corner in the world where you can find something that goes with your personality.
Hmm.
Right? So you have to be very authentic. Are you an introvert? Be an introvert. You
Yeah.
don't have to go out and be an extrovert. I come from a very what you can say, middle class background, where I was never a public person. Right?
Hmm.
I used to be afraid of sales profession, not because of its reputation, but because I was always afraid of, you know going out and talking to people. And sales, as we always believe, is about going out and talking to people. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You remember that very well, right?
Yeah.
But
So
but
I
when,
remember Namesh being a very quiet and soft spoken, hardly speaking kind of person. And when I saw that he's going and doing his MBA in marketing, I was kind of surprised in a sense. Wow, is that really happening? uh,
so then, yeah, so that's what happens. So when I looked around, when I audited my life, and I looked around, I saw that there are some aspects of sales where I can do better than other extroverts. So what I'm
hmm,
saying is, you don't have to change your personality, you don't have to change your values, you don't have to fake your CV.
yeah.
Right? I have hired people who failed in 10th or 12th standard, who failed in colleges, and passed after 2 3 trials. But they developed so much in their life after 2 or 3 trials, that phase of their life was so beneficial to them than the toppers of the same institute.
Hmm,
Right? So what matters is be authentic. Right? If you fail, are you able to communicate that failure as something good in your life?
hmm.
Right? Because as they say, every obstacle comes with a benefit. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you
So
learn everything. Even with every failure, you learn something, right? But
yeah.
you make sure that you learn and then improve that in the future.
So, as a
Mm,
personal, when you create your persona, or when you are looking at creating your personal brand, or
mm,
when you want to audit where you stand and who you are and what you want to do in life, you have to be very authentic. You don't have
mm.
to hide anything from yourself, at least,
Yeah.
right? So, that's why being authentic is very important. You are not selling a product, you are not
Mm,
doing it for profit, right? You are
yeah.
doing it for your own growth.
Hmm. And I think authenticity is important because you cannot fake over long term. I mean, you can try to imitate or try to follow someone and try to be like them. But if inherently, if you are not like that yourself, it will not come out to be very real. It will seem,
Somewhere in the future, it will derail your train.
yeah. So being what you are, I think, and identifying your identity in a sense, like what you are good at, and nurturing that, because every skill, every uh, capability that you have uh, is useful to someone somewhere at some time, right? So if you are ready and if you know what you are, what skills you have, who you can help, then you yourself are kind of doing like what Nemish, you said, audit yourself. So by doing that, what are your capabilities, what what you can offer and who you can offer it to. And that, I guess, is probably one of the first things, right? When you start thinking about
So,
yourself.
yeah. So, see, basically, when you look at branding, right, uh, there are three main things. First, you have to create your own story. You have to understand your story,
Hmm.
right? That's where authenticity comes in. The other two aspects, branding and communication, that is possible. You just have to, for that, there are so many tools available in the market. What
Hmm.
we want to look at today is how to understand yourself, how to audit yourself, and
Hmm.
how to find those words and how to find a story that represents you, right?
Hmm.
For that, I've created some exercises that we'll talk about now. So,
Okay.
can you share the deck?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to create your personal branding, the first thing I would like you to do is try and write a story about yourself. It's as simple as that. Write your own biography,
Hmm.
right? See how this helps is there are so many things happen. Almost everyone here is anywhere between the age of 25 to 35 at least. So let's take the lowest figure,
Hmm.
25 years. 25 years of your life, you've done so many things, you've met so many people, you've read so many books, you have seen so many movies, you have fought with so many people, you have fought with so many incidents, so many
Hmm.
events have happened in your life, right? Now each and everything of this has affected your life in positive or negative way, but you have
Hmm.
never thought about it, right? You might think that I'm overconfident, you might think that I lack confidence. Now both these things you were not born with. There are things that happened in your life because of which this thing happened, right? Hardworking people. What I have seen in my life is most of the times, many times people are hardworking by nature, but sometimes you meet certain people, you get so much influenced by them, or you suddenly meet someone and you change your goal, and to meet that goal you start working so hard that you forget everything else, right?
Hmm.
Now you are still focused on your goal, but you forget what made you run behind that goal, right? So
Yeah.
all these aspects, just sit, take some time, take half an hour and write an autobiography of yourself. Even better, write it as a third person. Just imagine someone is writing your own autobiography,
Hmm.
right? This will give you an idea about a conscious idea about where you stand in life and why you are what you are. Now, all these experiences have made you what you are, right? You are not going to change it, and you should not even try to change it. But having a conscious idea about these things will help you to create the values that you carry in your life. It will give you a sense of pride and satisfaction in yourself,
Hmm.
right? This will help you to look at yourself as a brand. You first have to understand what you stand for. Okay, fine. You want to communicate to people that you are so and so personality. But do you
Hmm.
really know? Do you know the story behind your own personality? So just take a time, write
Hmm.
about yourself. Believe me, when I did this exercise myself, there were so many incidents that I remembered that I had forgotten. Right? They were life-changing events in my life,
Hmm.
right? But the moment I remembered them, I started to accept myself as I am. I stopped trying to influence people on the basis of how they want to get influenced,
Hmm.
right? What happens is when you consciously forget or when you consciously don't remember these things, when you consciously don't remember your story, you try to fit it. You always feel unsatisfied or you always feel incomplete, right? Because
Hmm.
you don't know your own story. You yourself are a brand. You yourself carry values. Yourself carry events and stories that you tell people and you can influence them,
Hmm.
right? So take some time, write a story about yourself and try to audit your past and get an idea about who you are. That is
Yeah,
very important, right?
I think
Any
very
thoughts
interesting.
about it?
Hmm.
So, what do you think about this exercise, Vidy?
No, I think really interesting. I have to start writing this now, and probably 3 or 4 pages may not be enough for me.
Never, never. I know. If you want a help, I can help you write a book about your story.
That's a good idea. Yeah, let's do that. No, I think this is a really good first step, I guess, to self reflect. What you have done in the past, and what can you learn from that. So, if you want to carve yourself from now on, going forward, what pieces do you want to pick from these last 25 years, like you said? And if you have to live the next 25 years even better than the last 25 years, what is it that you can do? So if you write this story now, I think it will be like a guide stick, going forward in the next 25 years of your life. So no, I really like this idea of a
The,
three to
the
five.
second thing it will do is, see, for many of us, even we had a phase where we had to choose certain things in life, even when we didn't want to choose them or we didn't want them, but still we were there, right? But
Hmm.
we forget the events that made us do that.
Yeah.
Now, can we not divert from where we are and again take a road where we want to go? We definitely can,
Hmm.
right? But we get so engrossed in our unchosen path
Hmm.
that we forget to take a diversion, right?
Yeah.
So when you do this exercise, there will be so many aspects of your life or so many facades
Hmm.
of future that will open up right in front of you that you'll get enlightened, I'll say.
Hmm. Yourself. Cool, cool, cool. All right, that's good. Do you want to move
And
with the next?
yeah, and after writing your story, what I suggest is do one thing, write down the major events that happened in your life that changed the course of your life. right?
Hmm.
Write down the people who influenced you, right? The people who did something, sometimes even I have written in this. Sometimes you are traveling in a bus or a train and you meet someone. You talk to that person for half an hour, and suddenly you will change your idea about life,
Hmm.
right? That
Yeah.
happens, right? Write that down. Remember the name of those people. Remember those events.
Yeah.
Remember those books that made a difference in your life. Remember that list of movies, right? Remember those family events. This is not just about professional thing that we are talking about. It
Hmm.
includes your entire life, professional and personal. Now
Hmm.
I'll tell you how this will help you. As I said in the as I said earlier, you know, failures of your life can be beneficial to you, right?
Hmm.
Some positive traits about you today are because of the failures of past, right? Once you write down all these things, you will be able to, when you talk to people in future, your future recruiters or the influencers or people who matter to you in your life, right?
Hmm.
Whenever you are discussing with them, they'll definitely go into your past, right? They'll have questions about it, right?
Hmm.
You will be able to articulate your story and convince them about whatever that happened,
Hmm.
right? You chose certain career. Why? You failed somewhere. Why? You got some achievement. Why?
Hmm.
You like certain person. Why? Why such and such celebrity is so important to you? Why do you
Yeah.
like this book so much?
Hmm.
It's about knowing all these things that matters, and that will not happen until you sit and you think about all these things. That's why
Yeah.
writing an autobiography is so important. It will help you to create your story, and it will help you to articulate all these things, maybe in some interview in future,
Hmm.
right? When people ask about certain things in your past, you'll be able to articulate, you'll be able to convince them, right? So that's why this is important.
Yeah. So let's see what you have to got next. This is very interesting.
Yeah,
Be your own super fan. So
your
a bit
superman.
more about it, maybe.
So when you do this exercise, yeah, right, you have just 5 words to describe yourself. As I've written in the intro itself, that
Uh,
imagine you are being awarded whatever award whatever biggest award that is possible in your field, you are being awarded for that. That was your dream. It's like the moment you get that award, finished. You got your moksha. You don't need anything else, right? And the host of that event is giving your introduction. What
yeah.
qualities about you would like that host to mention,
Hmm.
right? Because these are the qualities that can take you there.
And if you don't have them, you have to nurture and build it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
So this and one more thing, language is a very important thing. I mean, most of this audience here is the research students, right? So they know the
Hmm.
importance of words. I mean,
Yeah.
not just the number of words, but the meaning of words also. So so it's like, be very specific, because every time you say something, one of my mentor used to tell me, Naimesh, don't speak anything negative about yourself, because when whatever you speak, you are sending signal to your brain.
Hmm.
Your brain is listening to you. Whatever you speak, other person is definitely listening to you, but you yourself don't know that your brain is also listening to you, and it is storing that information in your mind. The
Hmm.
moment you say, I'm not a hardworking guy, your brain will record that in its database. I am not
Hmm.
a hardworking guy. Right?
Yeah.
So, so when you describe yourself, be very specific. Don't say I'm very talkative. No, I'm very vocal. It
Yeah.
changes the meaning totally,
Hmm.
right?
So
I'm
speak
very
positive.
intelligent. Yeah, I'm very intelligent. That's not the
Hmm.
word. Maybe you can say
Hmm.
I'm prudent,
Yeah.
right? So your brain will remember the exact word that you spoke. And the moment you note down these words, you
Hmm.
subconsciously will try to build your own image, you will try to build your own character around those words, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
You subconsciously will start to work on the things that can bring those qualities inside you. And if those qualities are already there inside you, it will try to help you strengthen those qualities inside you.
Hmm.
And you will have a focus in life as to where you want to work. You are not good at giving public speeches, write it down. A great speaker, right?
Yeah.
If you write it down, you will take actions to make sure that you are good at speaking, you are good at giving presentations,
Hmm.
right? So write down these qualities. Go to Google, go check dictionaries, find out the words that describe you, and
Hmm.
eh, and don't go above 5 words, because achieving those 5 words is also not going to be easy.
Yeah.
The more focused you are, the more are the chances that you will achieve them. And this
So
will set the priorities of your life, and priorities, the key values of your brand. So if you are Coca-Cola, you are cool,
yeah.
or right. If you
Hmm.
are, if you own an Apple, you are the member of a club of people who own the Apple. It's a tribe, right?
Yeah. So what is one of your words, Namish?
Sorry,
What is one of your words that describe you?
I'm highly convincing person. I can convince you about everything, anything.
Okay. All right. That's really cool. Okay, let's move on. What is the third thing? Be your own critic. Okay.
Okay,
Listing
so
down 5 traits you want your future self to avoid. Okay, nice one. Yeah, there we
okay,
go.
so what I'll say is, what you are is definitely important, but what you are not is more important,
Uh,
especially in today's noisy digital world where you
hmm,
are constantly bombarded by uh, information that is not useful to you. You are
hmm,
constantly being programmed into a personality that you are not,
hmm.
right? So be your own critic. Now, here, I don't want to write down the things that you don't want to be. Write down the qualities that are already inside you, but you don't want them.
Okay. So find what you have and what you think you should not. Right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in earlier exercise, what you did, you wrote down qualities that you want to have. Here,
Hmm.
you write down the qualities that you don't want to have, but you already have.
Yeah. So basically, what you can get rid of, or what you should get rid of.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
So declutter your personality. That's what we can say.
yeah.
Right. So
And
you know
focus
what
on
is
your.
happening. What is happening right now is, see, earlier when we were in college, we
Hmm,
never consumed digital content, right? So we
yeah.
don't know the pain of today's generation. We cannot blame them. This has
Hmm,
become a part of our life now. So we
yeah.
cannot ask them to stop using mobile or stop using social media.
Hmm,
That's totally impractical, right? But we can help them to at least avoid the information that is not useful to them.
hmm,
For that, first they should know what kind of negative traits are inside them that used to be stopped to be fed,
hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So once many times it happens, no, like I'll tell you, we speak something. We suppose me and you are talking, right? And
Hmm.
I end up saying some things to you that I didn't want to say
Yeah. And which
when I
happens
was
quite a lot.
sorry.
Which happens quite a lot.
So
Yeah.
later we find we when later when we think when we are at home, and when we depart from that person and we
Hmm.
think about the conversation and we suddenly start feeling guilty about what we said or what we did.
Hmm.
There are some things that we did that we should not have done,
Yeah.
but still we did it, and we
Hmm.
feel guilty about it. Why? Because we are not taking any conscious efforts to avoid them. Why?
Yeah.
Because we are not conscious about those traits. We think
Hmm.
about those traits after it is happened,
Yeah.
right? So list down 5 negative traits that you want to get rid of and take
Hmm.
conscious efforts to get rid of them.
Hmm.
It's as
The
simple
other
as that.
day, I think today or yesterday, I was checking one of my WhatsApp status update, and that mentioned that for 24 hours, don't think anything negative. So just think completely, keep a completely positive day. Yeah, and that was really a powerful message, because every day I think I guess, uh, what do you say? Question ourselves. There our mind is like always running. Every time jumping from one thought to the other. If something goes wrong, what will happen? Did I do this wrong? Something or the other. So I think if you think about it, somewhere I read as well that you get 60,000 thoughts in a day. That is really crazy when you think about it. In 24 hours you get 60,000 thoughts, and if from that half of them, if they are negative, then yeah, it's going to be very hard. So that was a really powerful message. Try to be positive.
By the way, that I also read that message and I was thinking, don't
Uh,
think negative is also a negative, right?
that is also true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. True. All right, Namish, I can see we have nearly passed an hour of our talk, and whenever I talk to you, I don't realize the how the time flies. Last 20 years have gone like that. So 1 hour is hardly anything. So I know you had a lot more to cover. Probably, maybe you want to go through that quickly, or should the audience get back to you if they want a copy of these slides, or how do you want to take it from here?
We can quickly go through all the slides in next
All right.
15
So let's
minutes.
go to slide 4. Time to blow your own trumpet. Come on, where is the trumpet, Namesh?
Uh, your trumpet is much bigger. Don't worry. You can start doing.
Uh,
See, what I mean is, as I said, when you write your own book autobiography, you realize there are so many things and you have done small things that you have achieved in your life that you forgot about, but you should be proud of those moments and you should
hmm,
remember them, right?
yeah.
Because that's what created you as you are today. So
Hmm,
write down each and every even small victories that have shaped you, or
yeah.
any small victory, personal or professional, that you have achieved in your life. List
Hmm,
down everything. It's not your LinkedIn profile. This is your personal paper,
yep.
right? List down all those things and remember them. You never know when it can be helpful to you,
Yeah. I think
right?
it is kind of
And
doing a stock
yeah,
take of all the
yeah,
achievements, right?
yeah. And it will also, help you to mention mention sometimes in some interview.
Hmm.
Next is focus on the right things, right? So this is very important for the digital media, right?
Yeah.
If you open an Instagram or a LinkedIn, there is so much unwanted information that is completely flashing on your brain. You forget why you opened that website.
Why you
You
came there?
forget,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, right? So what happens is, see, it is actually possible to train digital media to
Hmm.
give you what you really want. So
Hmm.
list down 5 topics that you religiously want to follow, right?
Hmm.
Once you write down those topics, find out most popular hashtags of those topics on social media,
Hmm.
Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere.
Uh,
Now, instead of following accounts, follow these hashtags,
okay, that's an interesting advice. Yeah.
right? So what
Hmm.
happens is you are always updated about the things that are happening or any noise that is created in the area of your focus.
Okay.
You know what happens nowadays, the personal branding as such in digital media has gone so crazy that
Hmm.
everyone wants to have more followers. So say for example, if I look at sales, right, there are so many sales influencers who are good coach, but just to get more influencers,
Hmm.
they post things that are not related to my topics, or they not even related to our field, right?
Yeah.
Why would but just because of I'm following that person, I have to go through that information, and sometimes that information is so addictive or
Hmm.
so glamorous that I forget my focus and I actually follow those things instead
Yeah.
of watching a video about sales tips by my favorite influencer. I
Uh,
check a video of what my influencer did on his vacation. So the best thing to do, as I said, is don't follow accounts, follow
Hashtag.
hashtags.
Yeah, that's a good idea, I
Because
think. Hmm.
and what happens due to the digital algorithm, when you follow certain hashtags, the
Hmm.
digital algorithm will also understand what you are interested in. When you
Yeah.
follow an account, the
Hmm.
the digital algorithm will look for the information relevant to the
That
posts
account.
that are posted by that account. But when you
Yeah.
follow hashtag, it will
Hmm.
give you the information that is relevant to that hashtag,
Yeah.
right?
That makes sense.
So next slide is also about the same thing,
Oh.
hobbies and passion. Do the same thing about hobbies and passion also. On
Hmm.
digital media, follow the hashtags, don't follow the accounts.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is very interesting. Earlier we talked about how there is a big gap in how people see us and how we see ourselves, right?
Hmm.
Similar way, there is a gap in how people don't see us,
Hmm.
and we also don't see ourselves,
Yeah.
right? So there is always a gap. Can you scroll down
Do you want the?
the
Oh, you
graph
want
was
the
there
graph?
was
Oh, I'll get that. You can continue talking. I will get a
Okay,
copy.
so this Johari window is an interesting tool wherein uh, I mentioned the website also where the online tool is already available, where you can do this exercise with your friends, wherein you have to, there is a list, there is around 50 list of adjectives that are already listed there. You have to select any five adjectives that you think define you. Okay, and then you share this tool with your friends and even if family if you want, and you ask them to select the adjectives that define you. Will it take time?
Yeah, you can continue. Do you want to go on to the next one till I get that?
So basically what happens is, there are so many qualities that people select for you that you actually didn't know, and the more you share it with more people, the more you realize how many of these qualities are commonly perceived about yourself amongst your area of influence or amongst your circle. So it will give you an idea about the gap between what you think about yourselves and what others think about you.
Hmm. Okay. Just give me 1 second. I'll bring that screen up.
It's okay, Vidy. We can move to the next slide.
Okay, all right. Okay, I think, but we can share the ebook later, so they can.
Yeah. Can we move to the next slide? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The next is declutter your contact list. We earlier talked about following the accounts instead hashtags instead of accounts, right? The next thing to do is go to each of your social media account and be very ruthless and remove all the people that you think are not sharing relevant information,
Hmm.
right? This will help you to stay focused. Right now it is so easy to get out of focus, to lose your focus once you are on the social media, right?
Hmm.
The only way to achieve focus back is to get rid of, nobody is going to feel bad about you unfollowing them, right?
Hmm.
And because you are following hashtags of your relevant topics, you are not going to miss out anything.
Yeah.
So get rid of your FOMO and just remove all the contacts that are not relevant. How many contacts are there in your list? How many followers you have? How many people you follow? All that is not relevant.
Hmm.
What is relevant is the content that you are bombarded with. So
Yeah.
do that. Next, yeah, this is very important. Now, right till now, we have only talked about your story and values and digital content and all. Your voice is the most effective tool that God has given you,
Hmm.
right? The way you speak, the words you use, the tone you use, the eye contact that you make, all that makes a huge difference, right?
Hmm.
So what you have to do is record your voice. Just narrate a story or a news article or study material, or
Hmm.
just have a video chat with your friend,
Yeah.
right? Or if it is okay with the other person, record a phone call. In
Hmm.
sales, we do that. We record our phone calls with our customers to
Hmm.
understand how we speak, what mistakes we are making while speaking. Because no matter what kind of personality you have, ultimately you have to talk to people, and you
Hmm.
have to make sure that it is in the right way, in the right manner. Sometimes
Yeah.
you are trying to say something and the other person end up understanding something else because your tone was not proper, or maybe the words you used, because most of us, for more than half of the world, English is not their mother tongue, and yet
Yeah.
we all have to communicate in English, right?
Hmm.
So I'm not talking about accent, okay? Accent and all is secondary in today's world, right?
Hmm.
But you have to convey the message with the right tone and with the right words,
Hmm.
right? And that's all that matters. It
Yeah.
also, at an advanced level, you can work on your pitch, the pitch of your voice and all, but that is all not relevant for
Later down
everybody.
the track. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least make sure that you are speaking properly,
Hmm.
because no matter what you are, no matter what you represent, no matter how intelligent you are, ultimately it all boils down to how you speak, how
Yeah.
you convey the message. And very few people do this exercise, and this is the
Hmm.
most important exercise. You cannot have written communication everywhere. There are
Yeah.
times where you have to speak, and the way you speak will change your life.
Hmm. Very
And
true.
this is the exercise that very few of us do.
Hmm.
Yeah, next. Yeah, fake it till you make it.
Make it.
This is the exercise. This is the most important thing. Uh, have mock interviews with your professors or peers or colleagues, and record those interviews. This will also help you to create your own story, to understand your story, and to understand how people see you and what are the gaps that are still there. What are
Yeah.
the gaps that you still don't know? What are the things that people think about you when they read about you, or when they look at your resume?
Hmm.
But you
Hmm.
never thought about those things,
Yeah.
right? So it will help you to redefine or refine your story, review your story, and
Hmm.
add or delete certain things out of it.
Yeah. Very true. Cool. I think all this and much more is there in this book, ebook, or a workbook that Namesh has written. So, if any of you are interested in getting a copy of this, please email me at this email address, and I'll send you a copy of this book. So I think if there are any questions, please do ask them. If not, we're already over time, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank Namesh. I think he did interesting. He gave a very interesting perspective on not just personal branding, but also how the digital media is affecting us and impacting our life. And if we can focus, keep our focus on the most important things in our life. And I really like that idea of hashtags, following hashtags rather than following accounts is a very good yeah, good idea. All right. So I think I don't see any questions in the chat. So if there are any questions that come up later after this webinar finishes, do either email or put a question in the chat later on, and we will try to respond to you. And again, if you need a copy of this book, which I think is very uh, useful, do get in touch. All right. On that note, thank you very much, and I'll see you all next week. Namesh, do you want to have any final thoughts? You're on mute, Namesh.
Are we still live, Vidy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, any final closing remarks from you?
Yeah, so it was very wonderful to talk with you, Vidy. Uh, and I also enjoyed talking, not just talking to you, but also reflect back on my own life while doing all these exercises. I myself,
Hmm.
because we were about to talk today, I I reworked on these exercises myself again, and I enjoyed it. And I
Uh,
hope that the students who are watching this will benefit out of it, and they'll be able to communicate, because I've seen in my life that so many intelligent and hardworking students don't get
hmm,
what they deserve, just
hmm.
because they are not able to communicate themselves properly, or they are not able to represent themselves properly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, even I think this, I kind of have the similar experience where, uh, like when I finished my PhD, I was not a very outspoken person at that time. Networking with people or others was something that I used to find very hard. I didn't know how to do it. And one thing that I uh, thought is I have to acquire this skill one way or the other, because I guess that is very important skill to have, because who you know is more important in every stage of your life.
true.
So networking was something that I was not good at myself, but then I built up that skill over time. And I think others, you all, everyone who is listening can also similarly pick up any skill that they think is important to them, but they're not good at it. uh, take some courses, or whichever is the best way and the quickest way to acquire that skill. I think you should do that. And now I see the benefits of networking, because like I think Navish, you also mentioned earlier on that it is who you uh, so how do you who you know matters in any during your um, during your professional life, or your even in your personal life. So yeah, so networking has worked very well for me. I was not good at it, but now people know me, and I do get a lot of work, do get a lot of business just because people trust me, and I have created that kind of trustworthy brand, I guess, in the minds of people, where they kind of say, okay, I can see Vidy is there on this project. I'm confident to work with him. So you have to also come to that stage where people come to you because of you, not because of who you work for. And this is, I think, Nemish, what you said earlier on as well, right? That in sales, it is the person connection first, then the company, and then the product.
So it is
So,
like, yeah, as you
hmm,
said, it is, see, it is like, it's not just important who you know, it's
hmm,
also important that those, how those people know you,
hmm,
how they perceive you.
yeah,
And that's why branding yourself is so much important.
hmm,
Doesn't matter what you are, what matters is how people see you.
yeah, exactly. Cool. All right. So I think that was a very interesting and engaging session. I hope people, all the audience who came today, enjoyed it. And if not, I would actually recommend anyone who is still watching or watching later on to go through this session, because Namesh has given so many words of wisdom. Even if you pick 10 or 20% of what he has said, I think that is going to be life changing for all of you. So do take time to view it. Also read the book that he has written. I think it is again very valuable. A lot of, and the good thing about the book is that he has concised a lot of concepts in a very small and neatly written book. So everyone is short of time, right? You don't have time to read these thick books. But what Namesh has done is to get all that into very nice exercise-driven things in his book, and it's really good and easy to read. All right. I think on that note, I would like to conclude today's session. Next week, I'm going to have another speaker, an academic, a PhD student, going to share her experience on her publication journey again. I think that is something that a lot of you are quite keen to learn and to achieve, to be published author. So I will see you next week again, similar time. And yeah, till then, have a good week ahead. And thank you, Namesh, once again,
Thanks a
uh,
lot.
for coming to the show. All right, thanks everyone. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.